This is the Kinefinity Mavo Edge 6K, and it's possibly my favourite of the cameras that Kinefinity have released to date, and I think just might be one of the best options on the market right now for indie filmmakers. It's a large format 6K modular cinema camera with interchangeable lens mounts, flexible monitoring and power options, a built-in variable ND system, dual NVMe SSD media slots, and ProRes recording up to 444xq. And that's just scratching the surface of the features of this camera. There's so much to talk about here. And so in order to just stop this video becoming some kind of long mad ramble, I'm going to break it up into a bit of a series, with this video being the introduction to the camera and just why I am so interested in it. A bit of an elevator pitch for the Mavo Edge 6K, if you like. So let's just jump right in and look at the main headline features. It has a full frame 6K sensor, the same sensor from their Mavo LF camera if you're already familiar with that. It's fantastic at low light and the images look great, really detailed, with a decent dynamic range and incredibly easy post-production workflow. The colours and log curve of this camera actually match ARRI pretty closely. Both are based around the same Cineon gamma curve, and so all you need to do in post really is add an ARRI log-C lookup table, or just add a simple contrast and saturation boost even, and the colours look fantastic incredibly easily and quickly. You also get plenty of high frame rate options, with 6K up to 75 frames a second, 4K up to 150 frames if you crop in, and 2K up to 290 frames a second. I'll go over the exact options for frame rates and what you can get in each recording mode in another video, but if you regularly use slow motion in your work, there is plenty here to be very happy about. The UI is simple and relatively easy to use. I'm going to be doing a video, of course, going through it in more detail, what I like and don't like, than I'm going to talk about here. But I do want to show you the quick menu, which has been in pretty much every Kinefinity camera I've used to date, and it's probably my favourite thing about the UI. Holding down button 1 brings up a preset menu, where you can set your own combinations of settings like sensor crop, frame rate and codec, so that you can really quickly and easily jump between them whenever you need to. It's something I just use all of the time when I'm filming with these cameras. It's such a fantastic feature. I really don't know why every camera brand doesn't do this. If you like using modular box style cameras, the Edge 6K and 8K have one of the best physical designs I've ever seen, especially when you use them with the wider ecosystem of products from Kinefinity. There's interchangeable lens mounts so that you can quickly swap between PL, EF, LPL or a passive E-mount. Kinefinity are also working on bringing out more mount options for the camera in the future. There's an internal electronic variable ND system that goes from 2 stops to 8 stops of light reduction. There's 2 NVMe M.2 SSD slots to record onto, which is an incredibly fast, reliable and pretty affordable media option. There's a V-Lock battery plate on the back that actually has a Sony BPU style plate hidden inside it for when you want to use smaller, lighter batteries. And of course there's a bunch of ports on the back, including 2 XLRs on the top, 2 SDI ports and 2 power outputs as well, which is nice for accessories, a D-tap and a 3-pin LEMO. All of this just adds up to make this an incredibly practical camera to use in either a small package or to rig up into a much larger one. This is the KineKit Edge, which MovCam make for Kinefinity, which is a very nicely designed rigging solution. It even has a base plate with MPF style batteries inside it, so you can swap the V-Lock out on the back without powering down the camera and hot swap it, which is very clever. But there's also going to be options from other rigging brands coming out very soon, which I'm excited to see what they're like. Kinefinity make a range of monitors which they connect to the camera with this single cable, which provides video signal, camera control and power. Plus there are 2 ports for this on the front of the camera, so you can have 2 of their monitor solutions attached at once, while still keeping your SDIs on the back for a video transmitter or anything like that. They make a 5-inch and a 7-inch monitor, both of which are high bright and come with a touchscreen version for camera control. They then make this fantastic little EVF, which is probably the bit of the camera that I've seen camera operators fall in love with the most. It's tiny, it's light, and it's easily as good, if not better, than some of the big brand options, which often cost 5 or 6 times the price. But why do I say that this could just be one of the best options out there for indie filmmakers? Well, if you're doing the kind of work that is well suited to a modular cinema camera design like this, so narrative work, obviously, commercials, anything like that, this really does offer a pretty complete package. Let's separate the industry into, say, 3 levels of production. There's the high end, where they're using Arri, Red, Sony Venice, cameras like that. Then there's the real budget end, where they're using, well, anything they can get primarily, but it's where cameras like the Blackmagic Pocket cameras are hugely popular. But then there's this huge gap in between, and that's where I think the Edge 6K could just be the right camera. There's mirrorless cameras like the Canon R5C, for example, or solo shooter cameras like the Sony FX6 or the Canon C300 Mark III, cameras like that live in this space. But they have a very different style of ergonomics that is a lot less flexible for this kind of work specifically. There's the Red Komodo, which is an excellent price point for a Red camera and gets you that R3D RAW format, but it's Super 35, it's much more limited on frame rates, and it just isn't quite as flexible in its design. There's the Blackmagic Ursa Mini Pros, but they're much larger and less practical overall because of that. Personally, when you look at it in just that sector of the market, I really do think these Kinefinity cameras have an awful lot going for them. As I mentioned, we're going to do a series of videos discussing the Edge 6K in much more detail. But for now, if you want to buy one, just head over to ProAV, of course, and let me know what you think. Do you agree with where I think it could sit in the market? What features caught your eye? And would you use it for your own work? And what do you want us to test out in future videos? Let me know all of that in the comment section down below. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.